How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to a slightly different video. This is going to be a series called In My Opinion. So I'm going to be reviewing and talking about all things pretty much Formula One. This episode is going to be about Spa, but I want to kind of introduce the series. It's just going to be my opinion, understanding what's been going on in the world of Formula One, and review the races, the qualifying, all the ins and outs of the sport, and hopefully you guys enjoy this sort of content. So to start off with, pre-race, Sergio Perez has re-signed with Red Bull for another year, only 1 year, which I found quite interesting. They didn't want to sign him long-term by the looks of it. I think it's a good move for Perez. He's doing a reasonable job. He started to get to grips with the Red Bull car as well. It's quite clear that Max is the number one driver. He's the one who's going to win them a world championship. So hopefully Perez can up his game in the second half of the season and really start challenging Hamilton a little bit more than maybe he has done for the first half. But I think there's no real Red Bull juniors at the moment, clearly, that they think are going to be taking that space. So why not have him for another year? You know what you're going to get with Perez. He's very reliable. He's good with his tyres. He's a very good driver. So I think it's a good move from Red Bull to bide their time a little bit, see what the new regs do as well, and then maybe make a choice after that. Hopefully Max stays for them too. Before we get into qualifying, Bailey wanted to get involved. I was trying to film this and he kept getting in my way and wanted to come up and sit with me. So he's going to be joining us for the qualifying review. So into qualifying, I think Q1 and Q2 was pretty standard. To be honest with you, I felt like Norris actually had a really good chance for pole, and obviously in Q3, I think the conditions were too wet. There weren't the best conditions to be driving in. You heard Vettel say it was too wet, and next thing you know, Norris is in the wall. And I think Massey came out and said they should have called it earlier and held his hands up, and they made a mistake on that. And luckily no one was hurt. I felt like Norris was good for pole, but okay, bye. I felt like Norris was pretty good for pole, to be honest with you, but with the crash, unfortunately, it didn't go his way. I think, to be honest with you, he got quite lucky where he grazed the wall. It took a lot of the energy out of the impact that it could have had at that section of the track. So he was relatively lucky, I think, actually, that he didn't get hurt more and the car didn't have too much damage in reality, because he was okay to race the next day. Having said that, obviously, we didn't race the next day, which we'll get into now. With the race, I think from the offset, once they had those first few laps under safety car, it was pretty clear that the race wasn't going to go ahead. I think it's a shame that we couldn't, but in those conditions, these cars are not built to be driving in the wet for that long. It's not a matter of the wet tyres aren't good enough, it's actually a matter of they're so low, and the aerodynamics, you start to aquaplane, which is basically where the water lifts the car up and then you're kind of a passenger at that point, and that's essentially what happened to Norris in qualifying. And the last thing they need is somebody to go off at the front of the pack through Raidillon, Eau Rouge, and have an incident like we've had in the past there. So to limit that risk, it's not worth it, and I think they made the right call to call the race. Maybe they could have called it earlier. To be honest with you, I feel really sorry for the fans who have, obviously, we haven't had fans at Formula One races for quite a while now, and seeing everyone there, even though it was raining, they sat there, stuck through it, and then hopefully they'll get a refund for their money, because I personally believe that it's not very fair to call a race for points when there wasn't really a race. You sat behind the safety car for 4 laps and then you call it a race. I'm delighted for someone like Russell who's got a podium, but I think you can tell in his interviews afterwards that he wasn't quite felt the same about it. I think he knew it was kind of a falsehood, really, but great points for Williams having said that, and Ricciardo with a 4th. He did well in qualifying, so it's a tricky one. I think the fans definitely need a refund, that's for sure, and I think you can't really call it a race. That's my opinion. You guys let me know in the comments what you think about that, but that's my view anyway. Obviously, post-race, at the time of filming this, I've woken up to the news that Kimi Räikkönen is retiring from Formula One. He's been a great servant to the sport and a super impressive driver, and obviously quite a fun character as well with his radio comments over the years too, but such a good driver. I mean, to come into Formula One from Formula Renault and just to perform and deliver from the offset is super impressive, and to be still doing it now is amazing. I think it might start to shift where Bottas and Russell go. Obviously there's a bit things up in the air with that Mercedes seat, but now that Raikkonen's leaving, there's a spare seat. I could see Bottas maybe moving there. There's some rumours that that'll happen, and I hope personally that George does get the Mercedes seat. But now that there's a few gaps opening up, I think that will really open it up for him, and I think we'll know pretty soon what the future of those guys will be. Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. I hope you've liked this style of video. They're just going to be short and sharp, little reviews of the races, everything that's going on. So I hope you like it. Let me know what you think about what I've said, what your opinions are, but also how you like this content. I've got a few things planned coming up. I'm going to have a proper setup very soon, so there'll be a bit more polished, let's say, but also I'm going to start streaming on Twitch as well, so check that out. I'll leave a link in the description below to that channel, and keep an eye out on my social medias, my Instagram, my Facebook, and my Twitter to see when I'm going to go live and for when these videos do go out. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys on the next video.